Kylie Jenner has finally broken her silence following the Travis Scott Astroworld tragedy. After about 2 weeks of being radio silent, Kylie started to post again on Instagram, and people are not happy about it. After 10 people lost their lives at the festival, the lawsuits have topped a total of $3 billion. Shortly after the incident, Travis Scott and Kylie released statements, but instead of them being viewed as apologizing for their actions, their statements were interpreted as being insensitive. Scott tried to make amends with his angered fans in the city of Houston by saying that he would cover funeral expenses, but everyone in Travis Scott's inner circle is feeling the heat right now. Recently, Kylie posted to her Instagram stories to wish her friend Hailey Bieber a happy birthday. However, prior to this, the only other post that she had made was that statement that I just mentioned. In her latest message to fans, Kylie shared a photo of Stormi and Hailey swimming and said, "Happy birthday, Hailey Bieber. You are such a beautiful person inside and out. We love you lots." And a source also went on to tell The Sun that after the catastrophe in Houston on November 5th, Kylie decided to delay the launch of her holiday makeup line, a launch that has been dropped on November 19th for the last 4 years. Out of the 50,000 people that attended Astroworld, more than 280 have filed lawsuits with Houston-based lawyer Tony Busby. His lawsuits against Travis Scott and Drake total about $750 million in damages on behalf of the victims. However, now the collective number between the event organizers and the performers has reached a whopping $3 billion, as I mentioned earlier. Whenever people hear that number, though, they automatically assume that the $3 billion will all fall onto Travis Scott. But a lawyer named Nick Rosansky said to Yahoo Finance that it would be a stretch for all of the lawsuits to fall on just Travis. He goes on to say, "The law requires him to engage in specific conduct that incited the incidents. What did he do at Astroworld that night? That's the question the courts will be asking." And the Houston Police Chief Troy Finner, though, tried to shift all of the blame to Travis Scott for not pulling the plug on his show earlier. This is mainly because new footage after the event showed Troy's officers casually filming at the front of the stage 30 minutes after they said a mass casualty event had taken place. The police chief then went on to say, "We've been looking and the timelines have moved, and that's why we shouldn't jump ahead of things. Let's just wait. That's part of the investigation." He then went on to add that ending the show was not up to the police at all. Continuing in his statement to the media, Finner said, "Authorities' ability to end the show. We don't hold the plug, okay? But it's always in a plan. There's always discussion of how that would happen, and we had those discussions with the promoters. The ultimate authority to end the show is with production and the entertainer." Kylie and Stormi did stay in Houston for a bit following what happened, but it was said that she and Stormi flew back to Los Angeles on November 12th. A source told The Sun, "Kylie and her team waited until it was late and left the house in blacked out cars heading for the airport. They didn't want anyone to see them." This Instagram story from Kylie, though, was actually the second post after she and Kendall dropped a promotional video. However, this one is more significant because it's coming from her actual personal page. I'm sure she wanted to wish Hailey a happy birthday, but she could have just called her, you know? So really, this is most likely to test the waters on how people will feel if she just starts coming back and posting as if everything's normal. I suppose only time will tell if her brands bounce back from this major loss of promotion time. That would speak volumes about her fan base. Kylie Jenner and her sister Kendall are moving forwards with promotion despite Kylie leaving her personal social media on pause. The promotional video appears to be an older video, but it does still mark the first time that the Jenners have made a post following Travis Scott's Astroworld tragedy. At the event, 10 people ranging from ages 9 to 27 lost their lives during a crowd surge that took place at Energy Park in Houston. On top of that, hundreds of other concert goers were seriously injured, with many in critical condition. Kylie was in attendance at the concert with her sister Kendall and daughter Stormi. According to reports and some fan footage, all three of them were at the very back of the audience in a VIP section, and when the mayhem began to unfold, they were safely escorted out. A lot of people took issue with both Kendall and Kylie making posts following what happened. Kylie was mainly dragged over her Instagram story of that ambulance driving through the crowd, and Kendall was called out for posting a photo of herself standing behind Travis Scott's main stage. A lot of the comments simply said, "Take this down," with others adding that it was insensitive for her to post something. Eventually, she did remove the picture, but now the sisters are trying to move forwards with promoting their brand. The official Instagram for Kendall and Kylie shared an old promo video, as I mentioned earlier, that shows the duo announcing that their brand will now be available in the UAE. In the caption, the account writes, "We are so excited that you can now shop #Kendall and Kylie styles in the UAE." And despite there being lots of hardcore fans in the comments that were excited about this new promo, some were not as happy. One user commented, "The fact that this is so low quality is sad. At least make a new video. LOL, they definitely forgot they had this line." And the sister collab company launched back in 2012 and was partnered with the retailer PacSun, which, funny enough, was also created by the sisters. So they did a collab together and then collab with the company that they started. Alright. However, someone else must have been behind this promotional post because both Kylie and Kendall have not posted on either of their personal pages. In addition to that, Kylie has not posted anything on Kylie Cosmetics, Kylie Skin, or Kylie Baby since November 5th. Who knows though, this may have been a way of them testing the waters to see if they could hop back on promoting their businesses. Because you have to know that just from association, both of their personal brands had to have taken a hit from this. Kylie especially has not been able to promote her various companies on her personal page, and that is definitely going to be costing her a ton of direct sales. Although Kylie flew back to Los Angeles with Stormi, Travis Scott is still in Houston as he attempts to sort out the mess that he made by continuing to perform after people needed help. We saw many videos from that evening, but one in particular was especially disturbing. There was a video of this woman who climbed up onto the side of the stage and was desperately trying to tell the cameraman to get them to stop the show. She repeatedly said that people were dying in the crowd, and all he did was just swat her away as he continued to record Travis Scott's performance. Despite chants even coming from the crowd of people wanting to stop the show, Travis carried on for another 40 minutes before the show was finally shut down. Within that time frame though, he and Drake are said to have amped up the chaos that was already overwhelming the crowd. After learning about what happened hours later, Kylie Jenner quickly published a statement where she expressed her grief over the lives that were lost and then tried to make it clear that she and Travis had no idea of what was going on. However, city officials are still investigating where the problem started in the crowd that soon turned to pandemonium. Houston police is also putting most of the blame on Travis Scott after footage emerged of Houston cops just casually filming the show during what they later called was a mass casualty event. After what took place at Astroworld, Travis Scott began losing a number of business deals, from Nike to getting replaced at Coachella to Fortnite even removing his emote from their item shop. In addition to that though, Kylie Jenner has not been advertising her various companies on Instagram, which is reportedly costing her millions of dollars. Well, now it seems like things are only getting worse as W Magazine scrambled to pull the cover of their next issue that included Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott. Needless to say, Kris Jenner is not going to be happy about this one. But before we get into all of that, a word from our sponsors. Before we get started with today's video, I need to give a big shout out to not only today's sponsor, but also a hidden gem in the mobile gaming community. The greatest RPG mobile game of all time, Raid Shadow Legends. I've been a big fan of Raid all the way back to my time on Top 10 Gaming, and so we're thrilled to be collabing with them again. If you don't know, they have over 600 champions to choose from, and all of those champions have their own unique history and factions that they represent. Raid is also available on Android, iOS, and even your PC. Now, usually in fantasy games, the orc is the bad guy, but in Raid, they give you a really great reason to be on their side. After a brutal war annexed them from their lands, they saw an ally in Queen Eva of the Elves. However, despite joining her faction, the orcs have no idea what her true motivations are. Interested in finding out more? Well, then you gotta play the campaign for the full story. My favorite part about this new campaign, though, are all these cool looking orc characters that were added. I mean, you can clearly see that each one was created with its own personality and dressed according to their unique tribe. There's just so much happening in Raid this month. They have special events every day, more new champions being added, and don't even get me started on the brand new Guardian ring that gives you new ways to use your champion. And at the beginning of December, Raid is going to be releasing one of the biggest, most anticipated features ever. I mean, have a look for yourself. So if you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description down below and you'll get an epic hero, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in the game. All of this treasure will be waiting for you right here, but act fast because the rewards will only be available for the next 30 days for new players. Once again, a big thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Now without any further delay, let's just get right into it. Getting right into it, like I just said there, we have reports that W Magazine had been scrambling to cancel the next issue that featured both Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott. According to page 6, W Magazine editors were in quite the panic after the Astroworld Festival tragedy. The photo shoot for their cover had already been done prior to the festival, but had not been shipped out yet. This left the magazine scrambling to make sure none of the copies got out to the public, over fears that they too would face backlash. One source told page 6, W editors have cleared any planned coverage of Travis and Kylie from their website, but the magazine was already printed, and now they are trying to stop the delivery trucks. They go on to say, in the light of what happened at Astroworld, the interview and covered lines seem inappropriate to say the least. Many people were critical of Travis Scott after the festival that was attended by Kylie and their 3-year-old daughter Stormi. A lot of people believe that he could have stopped the concert completely as soon as he noticed people passing out, but that he decided to go forward despite the chaos. However, a new spokesperson for Travis denied that he had any ability to do this. Spokesperson Stephanie Rollins-Blakes, a former Baltimore mayor, said to the press, I mean, this notion that Travis had the ability to stop the concert is ludicrous. ludicrous. They have a 59-page operations plan, and it clearly says the only two people that have the authority to stop the concert were the executive producer and the concert producer. She then goes on to say, "He was not responsible for this, but he wants to be responsible for the solution, and I'm here to make sure that we can connect the dots and to make sure that that there's a lesson out of this tragedy and something like this doesn't happen again." She also reiterated that Travis had no clue as to what was happening until hours later. Travis Scott defenders also always point to the videos of him stopping the performance to check on people in the crowd. Rollins Blake added that even in stopping the performance, Travis could not fully tell what was happening in that crowd though. When asked about the grieving families and if there had been some communication between them and Travis, the representative said, "Oh, absolutely." She went on to say, "He's reached out to all of the families. I've reached out to the latest unfortunate victim to let them know that in their time he's there. He's here to help if they want it." Nike was also another company that decided to postpone their sneaker collaboration with Scott, and after the 100+ lawsuits that have been filed against him, the writing is sort of on the wall that his career may be done, at least with corporations. I'm sure he will still have fans that will come out to see him and, buy his merch and stream his music on Spotify, but it'll be a while before you see Travis Scott pairing up with a big corporation like McDonald's or Nike.
Last week, we reported that Kylie Cosmetics is losing millions of dollars following the Astroworld tragedy, but now sources are saying that Kylie is furious about these rumors as they are not true. I'm Mackenzie, and let's break down the updates we have about the situation. After reports were swirling that Kylie Cosmetics was losing tons of money following the festival, Kylie's reps refuted the rumors. The Sun first reported that Kylie might end up losing her business partnerships among the tragedy, as many were furious that Kylie was at the festival and did nothing, as well as posting a video of the concert with an ambulance in the frame and not deleting it until she was pressured to. At the time, the source stated, quote, "Kylie feels the weight of this and more than anything wants to do right by the victim. I know people do not think she cares, but she really does. At the same time, she's a businesswoman responsible for the livelihood of a lot of people." At that time, people wanted Kylie Cosmetics to take time off and not promote or sell any product out of respect for the families of those lost. But the sources added that Kylie is in a lose-lose situation because people depend on her for their incomes. Apparently, Kylie has decided to keep promotion on the down low for a few weeks to see how the situation plays out. However, the longer a company goes without promoting, the more money they stand to lose. The source added, quote, "We're talking potentially millions of dollars in losses." Kylie Cosmetics has not posted anything since November 5th, the day of the festival, and the comments are currently turned off, so it doesn't seem like Kylie will be posting again anytime soon. Kylie hasn't posted on her own Instagram since the event, and the comments on her posts are currently limited. However, the comments are flooded with people calling her out for the tragic festival. The source added that Kris Jenner is in crisis mode and is trying to figure out how to handle the situation. However, Kylie's reps allegedly commented on the piece from The Sun and said that the information in that article is incorrect. They didn't comment further, just basically denied the claims. However, from the videos that have been circulating online of people throwing out their Kylie Cosmetics products, it's clear that fans will be taking out their anger on Kardashian business ventures. They clearly turned off the comments on the Kylie Cosmetics Instagram page for a reason. One tweet about the situation read, "Kylie Cosmetics, your days are numbered. Everything must go." Another person said, "I'ma just leave this here since now y'all are finally throwing out your Kylie Jenner cosmetics." Along with the photo sharing BIPOC brands that people should support instead of Kylie. Kylie is currently back in LA while she tries to handle the situation. Apparently, she took a private jet out right after the news of the tragedy broke. Her and Stormi left for LA while Travis stayed in Houston to deal with the situation, essentially leaving him behind to fend for himself. Apparently, Kylie left in the middle of the night so nobody would notice. She also took a different plane rather than her pink Kylie plane. Kylie made a statement addressing the tragedy the day after it happened, but fans are not accepting her words and are still angry with how Travis and Kylie have handled the tragedy.
If you recall, we recently did a video about how Travis Scott was facing $750 million in lawsuits for Astroworld. Believe it or not, but now that number has now been added to a whopping $2 billion lawsuit. Yes, billion with a capital B. A Texas-based attorney has now filed a $2 billion lawsuit against Travis Scott, Live Nation, and other people that were involved in this tragedy. Attorney Thomas J. Henry filed the lawsuit, and the list of the defendants may be long, but the people that he was hired to represent is longer. The defendants listed in this suit include Travis Scott, Drake, Apple Music, and NRG Stadium, but on the other side he is representing 282 Astroworld concert goers. In a statement to the press regarding this massive lawsuit, Henry said, "The defendants stood to make an exorbitant amount of money off of this event, and they still chose to cut corners, cut costs, and put attendees at risk. adding, "My clients want to ensure the defendants are held responsible for their actions, and they want to send the message to all performers, event organizers, and promoters that what happened at Astroworld cannot happen again." Ever since filing this massive lawsuit, this attorney claims that an additional 120 people have reached out to him looking for representation in this case. After filing, Thomas did an interview with Hollywood Life and went into detail about some of the injuries that his clients are facing. His clients are understandably traumatized from having to step over the bodies of people that lost their lives during this festival, and then he adds, "They didn't have a choice because there was nowhere to move. These people were trapped. They couldn't breathe, they couldn't get out." This lawsuit also sheds some light on Apple Music's disastrous role in this festival. Henry alleges that Apple's obtaining of the festival's online streaming rights played a critical role in the crowd control disaster. The lawsuit goes on to say, "Early reports from the investigation of the Astroworld catastrophe indicate that the premises were arranged in a fashion that best served Apple's online streaming of the concert at the detriment to concert-goer safety." However, Apple Music has yet to release any statement in regards to these allegations. Travis Scott is making sure to act fast though, and announced soon after that he would be paying for the funeral costs of the victims at Astroworld. However, with a $2 billion lawsuit on the table, I don't know how much of that he will personally have to fork up. He might not have the money to help pay for these funeral expenses. Live Nation and another promoter called Score More also released a statement on how they will be handling the next steps. On Twitter they said, "We wanted to provide an update on the steps that Score More, Live Nation, and the Astroworld Fest team have been taking. Throughout the weekend, we have been working to provide local authorities with everything they need from us in order to complete their investigation and get everyone the answers they are looking for. Our staff has met with local authorities to provide information, and we have also provided them with all footage from our CCTV cameras. Loadout of the site and equipment is currently paused to give investigators the time they requested to walk and document the grounds. Full refunds are being offered for all those who purchased tickets, and most importantly, we are working on ways to support attendees, the families of victims, and staff, from providing mental health counseling to setting up a health fund to help with costs for medical expenses. Our entire team is mourning alongside the community." Also, just so we're clear, this $2 billion lawsuit is on top of the other $750 million that attorney Tony Busby is seeking for 125 other people that were also affected by this tragedy. We also had a statement from the CEO of Paradox, which was the medical company hired by Astroworld for the event. While speaking with CNN, the CEO Alex Pollock said, "This is something I'll have nightmares about for the rest of my life. The team is extremely broken up about it. Seeing so many young people getting CPR at one time is just something no one should have to go through. Even though we're medical professionals, we should be used to it. You can't get used to something like that." This was truly an impossible feat though. To have 11 people go into cardiac arrest at the same time would definitely give anyone nightmares, especially if it's your job to help them. I mean, who do you even choose to start with? Then on top of that, they said that the other concert goers did not make their job easy. Alex goes on to add, "We were doing CPR on the back of carts trying to get out of that crowd. People were jumping on top of the carts, they were pulling us off of people. They thought it was a joke." I could not even imagine what those working conditions must have felt like, and hopefully people are actually held accountable for this disaster.